Okay, so we can change our pencil color over here. For now it's black, but if it's different in yours, you can just go over here and click over here. When we right click, we are using if you right click and drag, we are using we have the front color, then we have the under color. So we can change the color for the right click by just right clicking any of this color. So this is a color palette. I think we are basically not going to be using this palette a lot, so we are really not going to be using it. We may use it, but at the same time we may not use it. Once we actually needed this, to go over here, click this icon over here. To change the color, you can move over here. You can change the hue over here. You can change the value and the saturation over here, but we are not actually going to be using this color picker. So let's click over here. We are going to pin this new window, because if you let it go like this, it disappeared, but we actually want to leave it opened, because this is actually how we are going to be picking our colors. So let's click this icon over here and let's drag it over here, I think. Yeah, and let's clean our canvas. So to get started, we are really going to be using basic shapes, because this is not a Pixilart tutorial. I'm just showing you how we can create everything from scratch. So hold the rectangle tool over here, right click and left click and hold, and let's move over this circle but not filled. This is rectangle but filled, rectangle but not filled. This is circle but filled. So we are going to click this circled but not filled. So we can just go ahead and start drawing our circle. But first, we are going to click this horizontal symmetry button, so that whatever we are doing here, we are also doing over here. So let's just draw some basic shapes over here, and it doesn't have to be perfect actually. So this is just a silhouette, and we make some refinements later, but for now let's just draw. I'm just drawing circle all around, basically to get this shape. And okay, so this is the shape that I got. You might got a different shape, but let's just start cleaning up the pixels. So I'm going to switch to pencil to make some refinements. So this will be like the mouth or something like that. Yeah, I think that looks cool. And in pixel art, we actually don't want stuff to be 2 pixel wide. I actually want it to be just 1 pixel. You can see exactly what I'm doing. Just 1 pixel, 1 pixel, 1 pixel, 1 pixel, 1 pixel. You don't want like a lot of pixels in our drawings. Just want a few pixels. Basically, I think I've already picked the color for the skin. Basically, first of all, I'm going to change the outline to a dark blue, a very dark, but blue. The reason why we are using a dark blue is because like we want it to be friendly, to be relaxing, so we don't want to go all the way black, but at the same time we want it to look like it was a black outline. If you like, you might not even use any outline at all. So what I'm doing here, basically, let me stop for a minute, let me pause for a minute. What I'm doing here is I'm using the field tool. The field tool should be here, the paint bucket tool, but it's called a fill tool in some other software. So what I did was actually use the shortcut button, which is G. So you can go ahead and click G on your keyboard with this HSB color over here. You can just go ahead and paste it if you like, but at the same time you can pick other colors that suit your liking. If you are looking for a more sharp color, you can go over to the red, increase the saturation to get a more red color, but we are not going to use that for now. So to pick the color I'm using before, I'll just click on the I button on your keyboard, then place your mouse over the color you want to pick over here. So this is a color picker. What we did right now is just use the color picker to pick a color. So right now I'm looking at the image, I'm looking for faces, what I can fix, and I think I already found one. We are going to change our selection to circle select because I want to select this eye over here and move it a bit. But as you can see, as I move it, it moves symmetrically, which we don't want. So let me just cancel the symmetric button over here, and let's move it down a bit. I think like this, basically. And we are going to do the same thing for over here. Sorry. So don't worry if your drawings are not exactly like this. I'm not I'm not a perfect teacher, so you might even get a better drawing than this. So basically just keep making some little fixes to the drawing by using the tools we've already discussed: the the color picker over here, the pencil tool, the B for placing the pixels, etc. So let me just go ahead and keep placing pixels. You can actually see over here that I'm using doubles. Like there's a one pixel over here, there's another here, which is completely fine, by the way, because this is not just a line. We are going towards like a 2D 2.5D shape, but it's also a 2D, but we want to make it more like a 3D, so that's why we are using that. So let's go ahead and create the eye over here. Okay, that doesn't look too well. So Pixilart is basically like it's like you are placing a brick. Like if you don't like things, you can remove them. If you like it, you can easily change the shape for some little fixing. So you can think of it like I think the best way to think of it like maybe sculpting. If you are used to sculpting, basically, I think. So let's go ahead and with our outline. This is not a must. If you like, don't use an outline at all, but I prefer outlines, so let's just go ahead. So this is this is our character, our player leg. So let's do some fine adjustment over here. Don't forget, the reason why we are not doing this like this is because we don't want all this. It's known as jags in Pixilart. If you want to create a curve, you should create them like this. You shouldn't create them like this. Like, we want a smooth curve, even though this using the curve like this might make sense, but it doesn't really look that nice visually. So what we want is to avoid jaggis at all costs. But if you look at my drawings, you can already see that I avoid jaggis at all costs. But yeah, we have another jaggis over here, which is completely fine, by the way, because I actually want it to be here to give like the eyeball, so that player can know that okay, that's the guy's eye. Okay, basically. So let's go ahead and delete this. Okay, so I believe we complete the guy's silhouette and the shape, the basic shape. So next we are going to do some simple shading. So first of all, let's go with a skin color. I've already used one here which I don't like anymore. I don't like it anymore. So let's go with this. Let's decrease the brightness. This the H over here stands for the hue, the S stands for the saturation, and the B stands for the brightness. We also have the A, which is basically how is opacity, basically, or alpha channel. If you are used to working with alpha, you can also use the RGB color picker, but I prefer HSB, and most artists also do. So let's stick with the HSB. So let's decrease the brightness a bit. We're actually looking for a base skin color. I want this guy to be a little bit fair, not too dark and not too white. So this is our base color. So right now we are going to pick a dark color that we are going to use for the shading when the time comes. So we don't want just one skin color. For the darker area of our character, we want to use a less bright color. Let's increase the saturation a bit, but let's decrease the brightness, and we also want it to be less vibrant. So we are going to move the hue from, if you look very well, this is around the middle of like red and yellow. So we are going to move this towards red a little bit. If it's for the lighter part of our character, I'm going to move it towards yellow, but it's for the darker part, so let's move it a bit to the red. Okay, I think that's maybe a little more bit. Yeah, and the brightness, let's decrease this a bit, a bit, a bit. Okay, I think that looks okay. Right now we also want a lighter part. Like, we've got our base color, we've got the shadow, the dark part. We also want the light. So what we are going to do about this, we are going to decrease the saturation. If you like, you can increase the saturation, but most importantly, we want to increase the brightness. I want to move our hue towards yellow. Okay. Okay, I'm going to click to add the color to our template. So let's go ahead and start shading. I'll click the G button to fill. Okay, there you go. You want this area to be a little bit dark, so let's go with the dark color. You want this place to be, all this left to be dark, dark. Okay, and let's give it a cloth. So he's wearing some green clothes. That looks fine. Let's give it some eye. I'll go over I'll pick the white color over here. Go over the alpha tuning, decrease it to around like 128 basically, and let's just keep filling it over here. Okay, but this is not done yet. Basically, you actually want a lot of fixing. You have a lot of fixing to do. For example, this green, let's go and pick a little bit more dark colors over here. I just place it in here, place it in here, just place it around, so create a little bit like a 2.5D look. So the light is coming from top. We still want more light color over here. Let's increase the brightness. So there's a lot that goes into colors actually, so just keep experimenting, and I think we are okay right now. Yeah, this is amazing. For this tutorial, we are not going to be using um, animation, but I actually want to show you some basic animation to get started basically. So let's open the timeline tab. Go ahead, click the view on this menu bar over here, then click the timeline. You can also click the tab. We've already been shown the shortcut key over here, the tab button. So let me go ahead. So let's click on this. You can rename your layer if you want, but we are not going to dive into all this stuff for now. Let's go ahead, right click this, our first layer over here, and click on new. So what this does is actually it duplicate the layer. So we want a very basic animation that it just, what we are going to do is like, we are going to change the height of our character over here, so that it goes down a little bit and moves up, goes down, moves up, like and make it seem like it's alive. So the basic way to do this is just chisel away some pixel over here. You can also, after selecting the pixels, you can easily click the delete button to delete it automatically if you don't want to be moving things around. So let's select everything from here, let's drag it down, and now we have an animation to play. Let's go ahead and click the play button. This, sorry, the shortcut is enter. So let's go ahead, and we have a very basic animation. So there you go, a very simple animation for our character. So if what you get at this point is not this, it's completely fine. In fact, you don't have to make a complex image. In fact, this is not so complex, and the reason why I choose this is because we are not diving into the details about how to draw stuffs. So this looks like a time, I don't know, but basically this is our character. This is our main guy that is going to be like defending stuffs like that. So there you go. To make this tutorial a little bit more simple, what we are going to do is, like, we are not going to create completely new character from scratch. What we are going to do is we are going to just change the colors of the characters. So you can go ahead and choose different color for different enemies. So we will explain how we can use all those enemies later in the tutorial, but this is a very very basic tutorial, and just changing the color should be okay. But if you like, you can go ahead, create new characters, and basically that's fine, if that's fine with you. But to avoid over complicating things, let's just stick with this for now. So to export this, our character over here, let's click on file, export. But no, we don't want this. We don't actually want this at all. So what we want is that we want to export the sprite sheet, because now we have an animation. We don't want to just export like a single frame out of the animation. We want to export both the frame, like this is frame 1 and this is frame 2. So to do that, click on file, export sprite sheet. You can add some padding over here. You can change from the sheet type from horizontal strip to vertical, or by rows and columns, but let's just go with the horizontal strip. No padding will be added. Visible layer, yes, we want the layer 1 which is visible. All frames, yes. So we are going to click on export, but first of all, what is going on? I can't do export. Okay, basically I don't know why it's displaying this, but this is a little bit different from the version I'm using before. So you can actually see that we need this output file to be open over here. So we can rename our file, you can change the type over here, but we are going to stick with png because png supports transparency, and we need some part of our image to be transparent so that we can use it in the Godot engine. Godot engine. So this is the folder we created earlier, the defender folder. So double click it. We are going to create a new folder over here to keep things organized. We are going to call it assets. Under assets, we are going to click on there, we are going to create a new folder called the img. You can name it images, but I prefer img. Img is just images for short. So we are going to name this player.png, and let's go ahead and click export. So let's go over the document, the defender, the assets, image, and there you go. We have our image over here, the character. So let's just go ahead and change the color however we like. Let's change it to blue. Don't forget how we actually normally do things. You want the base color, you want the dark color over here, and we want the light color. Okay, maybe too light. So same step, obviously. So we want a visual difference uh, from the player and the enemies. So these are all enemies. Now, okay, good. There's actually a better way to change all these colors, but I won't be using that in this tutorial. So wait a minute. Okay, there we go. Let's export this enemy one, our very first enemy. That's png. Well, for now we are going to leave it at this. If you like, you can create more variation of this. You can change the pixels, just experiment. Seriously, this is very fun thing to do. Just keep drawing, keep drawing, keep drawing, keep drawing, keep drawing. You might even come up with a very great art. So pixel art is very easy. So that's why I stick with it in this tutorial, and not vector art. Vector art is also easy, but just placing pixels is not that difficult to grasp. Yeah, so that's it for the asset part, and I'll see you in the next part, obviously. So till then,